And I asked you to make a simple bread. This is kind of a Greek street bread.
Right.
There's nothing to it. There's a little bit of kneading,
Right.
a little bit of, it's kind of a kneady
Yes.
recipe.
I remember my grandmother saying this was in all the streets, just for dippings, whatever you need. They always had street bread.
To dip in your stuff, to
Right.
cut it. It's delicious. So I'm gonna, again, rehydrate my tomatoes here. Okay, let's let that set a little while. Another thing we have to do is get the bread started. So
Yes, we
what
do.
do you have to do? This is a simple recipe.
It is really simple.
Not too many ingredients.
There's not a whole lot in it. And what we're going to do first, I have in this first bowl, I have a teaspoon of sugar
Gotcha.
and a package of yeast. And then I've got warm water here. I have half a cup of warm water. And we're going to put that in, and we're going to let it sit for 10 minutes.
Let it get working.
Yeah, so it's going to actually grow a little bit. And then this next container over here, I have a tablespoon of salt, and I'm going to put a whole cup of water, because as we make this, we're going to put both of these in with our bread. We're going to do a Miss Helen type bread too, where we have a, take out the circle and...
Okay, she's referencing Miss Helen, who made fried apple pies. Oh. So she's referencing that thing that we did several years ago. Here's just a little bit of how she folds her flour over. That is the old-fashioned way.
All right, so now we just need to time this for 10 minutes.
All right, and I'll be just frying this up while you're doing that.
I'm just going to pour this right in the middle. I'm going to start stirring it in. I'm also going to add, this is my salt water. I have a cup.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to add this, and I'm probably going to need a little bit more. Usually towards the end, I'm going to almost have to add probably another quarter to a half a cup. But let me see what this does for me. I need to get me, now I've got all this in, I'm going to get another half, see how there's a little salt left, another half cup of warm water in here.
Gotcha.
All right, and I'm actually adding, I have another half cup of warm water here. I'm slowly adding that in as I mix this, but this has to be kneaded for like 10 minutes.
That's why I picked this job.
Did you? Okay.
So you can see over there behind us, if you look over our shoulder, you can see one of those little loaves of bread that we did. And you know what? If you do a bread recipe and you want that bread to have extra added flavor, there is no law against putting some seasoning in that bread.
I'm ready for a little if you'd like to give me some. A little seasoning.
Are you ready for that?
Yes, go ahead and
All
throw
right.
some on here as
I'm
I'm in
gonna
the
take this.
process. And I'll just keep mixing it in.
This prepared Greek seasoning, you can make your own or you can buy some in the store. There are also very flavored Greek seasonings on the market out there that have very intense flavors that you can buy and add to your breads or recipes where you want it to have that Greek flavor. We kind of mix up our own. But remember the lemon. Always add some
Oh,
lemon
yeah.
to that. It really adds something. So to put some zest. We always keep lemons around.
All right, I'm getting a workout. Are you sure I need to work out today?
I think we still do. I do anyway. So that's been another 10 minutes.
Right.
And then what?
I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to let it sit for a couple hours. I'm going to drop
Here,
that.
let me set it aside.
You're going to set it aside? Natalie loved when you set it aside.
I set it aside.
Set it aside again. And I'm going to cover this with a towel. All right, so this is ready to sit back for 2 hours. And you know what? I actually have another one I prepared earlier, so we're ready to go because Kelly's going on vacation. She wants to take bread. So I'm going to put this back and let this sit and get the one that's done.
That's a great thing about when you're doing a recipe. Sometimes you make a little extra.
And look what happens in 2 hours.
Oh, beautiful.
So now we have another step, and I'm already a mess. We're going to knock this back down.
You killed it.
I killed it, and we're going to let it sit for another. This needs another half hour while you're cooking. I'm going to set this aside again. Want to set it aside?
You want me to set it aside?
Yeah, set it aside for me. Okay, thank you. And this is sat another half hour. See how it's up again?
Yep.
Now this is where we're going to divide it into two.
Now, if you're looking in our kitchen and you say, there are dishes in the sink, or that pan has got stuff on it. We are not a show that is on a set. This is our kitchen. If you see material or old baked in stuff on our pans, that's just the reality of a kitchen. That's an old pan. I bet you that pan right there is probably 25 years old.
Oh, at least 25.
Maybe older than that.
Yeah.
So that's it. You set them down.
Let's put 3 little cuts in that. You got a
All right.
little, give me a little.
Give me a paring knife.
Yeah. And this will actually, we're gonna let it sit for a little bit, but it raises in the oven a little bit too. So I'm just gonna do one down the middle.
Hot cross buns.
Yeah. And this doesn't destroy this bread like you do in some when you cut it. And this is a really dense, heavy bread. All right.
It is delicious. Now, again, if you look at that bread up close, you can see rosemary, you can see basil, you can see pepper chunks. It's flavored and it's wonderful. We do this quite often with our breads. You can do that. There are no rules against it.
That's right. And this is actually going to grow in the oven a little more. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on 375 for 40 minutes.
All right. The bread is light. It's compact. It's tasty.
Got some seasoning in there.
Absolutely wonderful.
Dip that in like soup. Oh, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, that'd be perfect for
dipping.
dipping in your mom's lemon chicken
Oh, yeah.
Greek soup.